Okay, hi everybody. Today I'm going to talk about fuel and safety and some things that I do from fueling up the ski. You'll hear me call this a ski. It's just a abbreviated name for jet ski or PWC, personal watercraft. This could also apply to a boat as well for fueling and safety. Obviously, we're running gasoline in these, and gasoline is highly flammable. And if anybody has any experiences around boats, there's been a number of boats that have blown up over the year, gasoline boats. And a lot of people with power boats prefer to have a diesel in it for that exact reason. Why? Well, any gas fumes. If you had a gas leak, this is the Kawasaki Ultra 300 that we'll talk about, but like I say, it could apply to any jet ski or boat. On this Ultra 300, there's our fuel tank. It's plastic. I call it plastic, but it may be there might be a more technical name to it. But if there was, back to a fuel leak, if there was a fuel leak, the fumes would sit in the bottom of what we refer to as the bilge, the very bottom. This is a sealed unit. There's a starter motor down here. It's sealed. I saw one taken apart in Bangkok. It is a sealed unit, assuming it's not rusted. If it was rusted and the casing was rusted out, there's plenty of sparks going on in that starter motor. So again, it's a sealed unit. If it's in good shape, even if you had fumes in there, that starter motor should not set anything off. But there's another issue. The battery cables at the starter motor or the battery cables up at the battery, if they're loose, you could get an arc. There's a spark if you had fumes. Obviously, what do? First thing I do is I come and I actually smell. I stick my nose in here and here, and I give it a couple sniffs because I want to see, do I have a fuel leak? I haven't, let's say I don't go out for another week or a day or hour. I have a sniff in this engine area. It's a confined space. If there's any kind of spark in here, you will have an explosion, and it won't be good. And it takes how long to sniff? 1, 2. I've never smelled any fumes in any boat I've had, any jet ski, but I check. Because if like I say, if there was a breach in the starter motor, if there was some sparks, yeah, that could ignite it. A loose battery cable, maybe one of the wires up at the ECU. I'm not sure if they would actually spark or arc. But who cares where it comes from? If you've got fumes, there's no way you're going to start the ski. It's absolutely crazy. You need to find the leak and deal with it immediately in a well-ventilated area. That's how I would deal with it. Also, what about anybody with a carbureted car? If you've ever had a backfire through the carburetor, or this is a fuel injection, you could have a backfire through the throttle body, I presume. Wouldn't that put a flame into your engine area here, of course? And if you had fumes again, well, on this particular ski, on the side of my intercooler, here's your intercooler here, there was a raised casting and it said something to the effect of spark arrestor, but I don't think that was the exact term it used, but it essentially said it was a spark arrestor of some type, and I found that on the side of it last time I had the intercooler out. So that kind of solves that issue, but again, this is a confined area. Any fumes in there, any ignition source, it could even be an arcing from a battery or from a spark plug lead, this end, or a break in it, arcing to the engine. If there's any kind of fumes in here, I will not start the ski, and believe me, I will check until I find the problem. And because it would be, well, you could be dead or severely burnt if there was ever an explosion here. So, like I say, I can't stress enough, that's what I look for. It is a confined area, confined space. The fumes will accumulate in the bottom normally, and gasoline is dangerous. Another thing, I'm here with a camera right now. It's not explosion proof. They do make intrinsically safe cameras. I do have one from the safety business. You can stick an intrinsically safe. That means not enough heat or current within it to set off any type of explosion if there was a flammable liquid. But so in other words, when I use this camera around this area, believe me, I have a good sniff. And if I stick my camera down, like today I was looking at the oil cooler lines, yeah, I mean, could this camera cause an arc, a spark within it? Absolutely. So be aware of that. Would I put a fan in here? We just talked about that in one of my other videos. I felt it was better to keep the fan out here and have it blowing into the area, because again, a fan causes a lot of sparks internally, and again, if there's any fumes, big problem. The other thing, fueling up, I fuel this ski up outside, same as my Yamaha. I fuel them up outside. I don't do them within the garage because it's too confined in here. Another thing, would I have my air conditioner on? Let's say my air conditioner was near the door, and I had my ski outside and I was a few feet or meters away. No way. That's a source of a spark over there. Obviously, it's in here. There's my door. My ski would be outside, but if the air conditioner was even close to it, it would be shut off. Would I have a fan on near the jet ski when I fueled it up? No, absolutely not. So be aware. Same as lights. You know, are you going to stick a light down here, or am I going to? That could cause a spark or an arc. You know, a battery. Would I, or not a battery, a flashlight. You know, when you turn on a flashlight, there's probably a small spark in it, unless it's an explosion-proof flashlight. So many things to consider. Like I say, it's a small, compact area. If we ever get fumes in here, and the same applies to a boat, you get any kind of sparking, arcing, and I always try to make a mental note. What could create a spark? There are no fumes. Never had a fuel leak. I check all my lines, but irregardless, I try to make a mental note all the time. What could potentially cause a fire? You know, because, anyways, if we ever did have a fire in here, there's the fuel. I don't know how long that plastic, or as I say, the technical name for it, would last. And you know, once that is breached, there's fuel everywhere, and boy, now we're really out of control. So, like I say, I always fuel the ski in a well-ventilated area before I fire it up, before I go out for the day. I sniff in here, and it's common in boats. A lot of people say, oh, you gas boat, you sniff the bilge. Absolutely. And in boats, a lot of guys will have a blower, and you run the blower for a few minutes. It's, of course, explosion proof. It blows out any fumes out of the bilge, and they have sniffers in there that can smell any fumes, whether they be gasoline or propane, because boats sometimes have stoves on them that are propane, and that's a whole different subject, propane in boats. So anyways, most guys on jet skis do not have a sniffer in the bilge sniffing for fumes. I guess you could put one in. Might be a good idea. I've never seen a blower on a jet ski to blow out any fumes. Possibly. Could be another thing. Most guys on jet skis that are aware of a possible fume problem, and as a safety precaution, just have a sniff of the bilge, as I just talked about. No fumes. Just nothing in there. Smells good. Maybe air it out for 15-20 minutes. Keep the seat off before you fire it the first time if you haven't fired it for a week. And or leave the seat off on the way down to the boat ramp if a person wants to do that, so you get lots of airflow through here. Just to be aware, because it's probably rare that jet skis blow up. But boy, like I say, if you had a leak, a fuel in there, and you had a spark, look out. Yeah, it would be a real bad day. So anyways, that's today's tip. Just my personal experiences with boats and jet skis, and from Rod, and hope that helps.